Sim Race Network's coverage of the Speedzone Esports Busch Series is coming up next.
Welcome, race fans, to the Speedzone Esports Busch Series Las Vegas 180 on Sim Race Network. Race number 5 is getting ready to start right now. It's a mild day today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for round number 5, where 19 of the fastest Speedzone Esports Busch Series drivers will compete today over the course of 120 laps. Temperatures in the low 70s, mild winds at around 10 miles per hour out of the northeast will create great conditions for the cars today. Lap times have been extremely quick throughout the hour-long practice, with Randy Arms and Landon Quisenberry, our top 2 in the points as well, holding the top of the charts. Practice is wrapping up here as cars are taking their final runs before we head into qualifying. I'm Kenan Miller on the call, and alongside me with high-quality analysis in these beautifully produced images is Avery McDonald. So as we're looking here at Randy Arms taking his qualifying run, was quickest in practice, just barely over Landon Quisenberry. And we'll take a look at the points to show you just how close of a battle we have as all the drivers are starting to put in their first lap and getting their second lap times in. We have a 6-point difference in the points championship, 5 races in. There you see it. Landon Quisenberry leading with 149 points, 6 points over Jonathan Mazzella and Randy Arms, last week's race winner, separated by 8 points. Kyle Ritchie and Alex Chera are leading out into the top 5. And then also, as we look down, other highly notable names for today's race, Jared Lindsay, Jake Niparis, and Ryan Tiller will all be heavy contenders today as we go into this Las Vegas 180-mile event. So, Avery, as we're kind of watching time start to trickle in, Randy Arms already to the top of the board in qualifying with a 30.170, almost a full tenth faster than Jonathan Mazzella. How do you think that's going to affect having a good starting position, and how it will affect the overall run of your race, getting to have good track position from the beginning?
Yeah, Randy's always fast when he comes into any racetrack, especially a racetrack like Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You know, he won, like you said earlier, he won last week at Phoenix, and he's trying to take over that 6-point lead over Quisenberry. And Quisenberry not looking good on the speed charts.
Yeah, Quisenberry so far a little bit down, run a 30.45 on his time. I think that may have been both of his laps, so very far off of where we saw him in qualifying. The handling just was not quite there for him in the conditions for the qualifying. We will be slightly later into the day as we get to the race time, but 3/10 off, he's gonna have himself a little bit of a challenge being able to get from 8th back up through the field in such a highly contested group of drivers that we have here today. And I think one thing that we do need to look at as well is someone like Jared Lindsay. I know I mentioned him as we looked at the points. He could certainly be a dark horse, as well as Jonathan Schwartz getting into the top 5 so far with qualifying. We do have 1 minute remaining for drivers to be able to put in their times and see if anybody can maybe best with a second lap anything that has something for Randy Arms. But right now it's looking pretty good for him, Avery. I have a feeling Randy Arms will be starting on the pole alongside Jonathan Mazzella.
Yeah, 2 drivers have not put down an attempt, and that's Andrew Bruce and Casey Herring. So we'll see if Casey will be able to maybe get back out on the speedway and put on a good lap. The one thing to keep in mind is, yeah, they do have that stage. That stage break is between lap 40 and 50, I believe, is what Randy had set up today. And that's what's really cool about the stage break, Kenan. You don't know when it's gonna, like the 10-lap range it's gonna be, but there's no set lap. So anytime the race control software will populate that, and we will find out in between lap 40 and 50.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is super high technology that's used here in the Speedzone Esports Busch Series, in that they do have a random caution that will be thrown between lap 40 and lap 50, which does happen to come right about when we'll start to see a fuel run come to the end. Drivers will have to make a choice of trying to pit before that caution's thrown, or maybe wait until the caution's thrown and stretch it a little longer if they're able to, but really will add a little bit of randomness in with the stage break coming between lap 40 and 50 that not even Avery or I know. But as we can see, qualifying is over. Randy Arms is going to be your pole sitter with a 30.170 alongside Jonathan Mazzella. And let's pull up the entire starting order for you. There you can see it. Randy Arms on the pole, 30.170, quick time. He is certainly looking to make a run back to the lead in this points championship, needing to gain 8 points today, certainly starting himself in the best position for it. Alongside him in row number 2, Kyle Ritchie and Jared Lindsay. And then in row number 3, we have Jonathan Schwartz and Todd Slauson. Row number 4, Cade Ferguson and Randy Sample. And then alongside behind them in row 5, our current points leader, Landon Quisenberry, with a very rough qualifying run, but still getting to start inside the top 10 will be somewhat manageable, although difficult for him to find himself back to the front throughout this 120-lap event. And alongside him will be Brandon Schermersheim. And then we have in row 6, Kevin Ritchie, alongside him, Ryan Tiller, rounding out the top 12. And here we look through the rest of the field. Alex Chira starting in 13th alongside Ryan Simmons and Eric Shields. Brandon French 15th and 16th. 17th is Michael Cochran with a little bit slower time than I think he was expecting. We had a chance to talk to him in practice. He thought he had a fast car. He's hoping for a good long run car, but starting from 17th will also present a little bit of a challenge as well. And alongside him will be Mikey Adams. And then the final 4 drivers, Wyatt Garrett, Casey Herring, Andrew Bruce, and Tyler French, rounding out the field. 22 of the world's greatest Speedzone Esports Busch Series drivers, all on the grid as you see them all taking off. The pace cars rolled off, cars beginning to get lined up. They will have one pace lap before the pace car will come in, and they will let these cars fly. So we've got ourselves quite a good field here, Avery. Who do you think your pick is, as we've got a little moment as the pace car is sending them down the backstretch? There we see the entire field kind of starting to come back and file. I think my pick, I'm taking it from the top. It's going to be Randy Arms today.
Your pick's Randy Arms. I like that pick, Kenan. If I'm going to make a pick, I'm going to take it to the guy that's starting on the outside of him. That's Jonathan Mazzella out of Madison, Florida, driving that 41 MoFlo racing car. It's going to look strong. We'll see if he'll be able to get it home tonight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's a very nice, very vibrant orange scheme that he has there right on the outside. Really contrasts well to the number 8 of the Moco Randy Arms machine, and he is kind of holding a little bit of a gap off the pace car as we see the starter is ready to wave that green flag as soon as we see the pace car dives off onto pit lane. And here we go as they will start to head their way into the restart zone, and green flag is out. We are racing here in Las Vegas. The whole field is underway. Kyle Ritchie giving a really nice push as they go into turn 1, and there's Jonathan Schwartz making a good grip on the inside. The inside line got a really nice start off of everybody as we see them all starting to pack down into turn 3 already. It's going to be a high-flying event. A lot of power in these cars. They're going to start slipping and sliding as the long run starts to play in effect. And as we see, Randy Arms taking out the opening leading lap will lead the first lap by a handful of corners already, utilizing that clean air as you see Kyle Ritchie and Mazzella still fighting side by side on lap 2 to try and settle things out. We really want to let this see things start to single file out as drivers really want to get that first run under their belts, develop a little rubber onto the racetrack, be able to get the car a little more comfortable, be able to get through that first stage break, and then the race will really be on from there. And as we look, now we've got the 75 machine of Landon Quisenberry starting to make some moves on the outside. Looking on the outside of Randy Sample, wanting to get to the front early. The restarts is really a good way to get a spot, but still not able to do a whole lot. He's right where he started in 9th as he does clear that pass by Randy Sample, and we are starting to see cars somewhat single file. That's a pretty good restart, or a opening start to the race, Avery. Everybody getting settled in. I don't think anybody wants to push it too hard. We did see a a lot of these drivers racing a series last night where tire wear was certainly a very big issue here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and I think a lot of drivers are trying to do the best they can to manage it early on before the track can really rubber down.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy Arms got off the floor to Kyle Ritchie, who won at Coda. Will Ritchie get his second win of the season? You know, he's a really good road course racer. The other thing is 4 races, 4 different winners. Only 3 of the winners are here tonight. It's Arms and Ritchie and Quisenberry, those 3 winners that are here. So I think it's off to a really good start, obviously, for Randy, but also a great start for the rest of the Speed Zone group.
Yeah, everybody getting off to a pretty clean start. There we see Schwartz sliding up just a little bit on Mazzella, leaving plenty of room, but Mazzella's going to get that run down the backstretch, hold him off for 3rd place so far, and Schwartz is already looking to make a move. You can really see how some of these drivers, the multi-group racing is really on the Las Vegas. Donovan Mazzella really trying to utilize that highlight, really nice run off the corner. Schwartz choosing to stick to the bottom, really holding it tight, and he's going to get a run on Mazzella going into one, and I think he'll be able to make the pass as they come out of turn 2 this time. But he gets a little tight. Schwartz is going to have to back off the gas, but he does clear him with a little bit of a slide down. It looks like gets to the wall, and Mazzella's going to fall back to 4th. Schwartz up to 2nd. He's already up 2 positions since the start of this race.
Yeah, Schwartz is a driver to look out for. He's very fast. He's one of the top drivers, you know, in the series, and his results always seem to be up in that top 5. And you see him running in that 3rd position, up 2 spots. Mazzella, who's one of the cleanest drivers in any league, in any series, and he's got 2 spots, but he's really good on that.
Yeah, looking through the leaderboard so far, Jonathan Schwartz is on to an opening move. He is the best time so far out of any of the drivers through these opening 7 laps with a 30.486, almost a 10th quicker than Randy Arms, our current leader. However, Randy Arms will get that advantage of having some clean air, really be able to take it easy on the tires, not having to fight as hard. And there's a little contact between Mazzella and Schwartz. Mazzella gets a little tight. There's a little touch, just slightly. Both cars continue very cleanly, but they certainly did rub bobbity doors there as Mazzella looks to take a back on the Schwartz and get back into 3rd place, and that's going to open the door for the 18 of Jared Lindsay, Cade Ferguson, and Tal Slauson, all behind them wanting to fight for 3rd. We have a 5-car race for 3rd place as it lies, and there you can even see behind several different drivers all side by side as they're looking to go back into turn 1 of lap 9.
Yeah, looking at it from Jared Lindsay's point of view, and I tell you what, those drivers, are running really hard here, and we're real excited to see them out here slide back in behind Todd Slauson. And we'll bring it back up to Mazzella, and he's right there on Schwartz. He's rear end there out of Madison, Florida.
Yeah, we're riding right on board, looking over the hood of Jonathan Mazzella, Mr. Jonathan Mazzella, as he takes a peek on Schwartz. You still see Mazzella working that high side, and I'm not sure whether that's going to prove advantageous or not. Maybe early in the race it will work out, and trying to get a little rubber on the outside. He's making it work getting the run, but it is worth noting in this Speedzone Esports Busch Series, we are running 70% fuel and about 0.35 gallons per lap. We're looking at about a 36-lap run, so they may have to take a pit before the stage break really comes. It will come almost within 5 to 10 laps after a lot of these drivers have had to pit, had to take tires, which will feel nice, but it's going to create a lot of interesting strategy in how you can maybe change up the track position by utilizing that stage break. Maybe you should consider something as a driver of saving some fuel, maybe trying to get a little bit more out of it and not have to take such a long stop during the stage break, or maybe even consider fuel only, as we've got a 3-wide battle. Wow! Loosey-goosey by the 97. Ryan Simmons in the middle. He hangs on to it, and everyone else still gets by. That's the 51 and the 24 of Kevin Ritchie and Randy Sample, all sandwiched around him, but everybody getting through smooth and starting to single file out now as Randy Sample is falling back 4 positions in this opening 12 laps. Started in 8th, he's falling back to 12th. I think he's one of those drivers we're kind of talking about. I think he's maybe saving his stuff, letting everybody else maybe run it a little harder, and we'll start to see him as we get into that lap 25, lap 30 of this run, where he'll start making a move back up towards the field and just really trying to manage the equipment right now. There's not much rubber on the track. You really got to just take care of everything, but he is going to be able to get a run on that outside of the 23 of Ryan Tiller and take up one more position. So that's going to drop Ryan back to 12. Right now we've got a lot of interesting lines. I'm actually very surprised to see how much the multi-groove racing is really being able to play in effect this early on in the race. Drivers able to make passes on the outside and the inside, as Randy Arms is still being chased down by Kevin Ritchie by only just a quarter of a second separating them. As we take a look at your leader, Randy Arms, coming out of turn 2, looking to be well ahead, does get a nice run out of turn 2, but Ritchie is able to really make a move coming down the backstretch. So we will have to keep an eye on things as we're already 14 laps into this run. Tires are starting to take an effect, and there you see it. That's the distance between first and second place. It's still anybody's show as we're just getting halfway into this run. It's going to be very interesting to see how this really plays out. Randy Arms searching for grip on the top. I haven't really seen any driver definitively take a line yet, Avery. Everybody's really testing the high line, really testing the low line. I don't know if even I from the top of this press box can tell which one's truly faster at this point in the race.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. The one thing to keep an eye on is look at Ryan Tiller there, almost get to the inside of Alex Chura there. And I tell you one thing to keep in mind though, you're looking at about 36 to 37 laps on that tank of fuel, and your stage brake is between 40 and 50. Well, when are you going to come down and pit?
You're absolutely right. It really opens the door for some interesting strategy. Part of me says that it's a little too early to come pitting before lap 25 and think that you would be able to get tires and be able to make up that time before the stage brake falls. But knowing everybody's going to have to pit before the stage brake random window does open, does leave that opportunity for someone to try it. You could certainly look at maybe a Mikey Adams who's in the back, maybe Eric Shields running in 17th, a Brandon French, he's up one position where he started but still in 15th, and maybe that's an opportunity for them to try and flip around the track position for a little bit, see if they can't get a little bit of time, as I would expect a lot of these drivers, even pitting on lap 35, 36, or 37, if you get that stage brake on the back half more towards lap 50, I think you're going to have to take 4 tires either way, given the free caution that you'll get with the stage brake. It seems like there's no way you would want to risk that tire wear and find yourself falling back right as soon as we get into the beginning of the second stage.
Speaking of Mikey Adams, give him a big shout out. I know he's got some viewers out there watching, so we want to make sure we get that 28 car on the track. He's from Empire, Alabama, through his SDK driver app, able to make some big things happen for us. So we do appreciate Mikey being out on the speedway as we go side by side. Wait, are they going side by side? Kenny, no, they're going side by side.
Side by side as they came out of turn 4 right there. Mikey Adams able to really hold it on, but the 44 car of Brandon Schermersheim, I will get that name pronounced better as we get throughout this race, is really looking to make a nice run as he's following quite a big little pack in front of him. Kevin Ritchie, Ryan Tiller, Alex Chara, and Randy Sample all in front. You see cars all starting to single file out. Everybody is still somewhat close together, all but I believe all but Mikey Adams is on the front stretch right now. Mikey Adams getting out of turn 4. They're not too spread out throughout the track. There's certainly quite a close gap between 3rd place through 14th, where anything can really open up as the tire wear starts to begin. And I think that's the biggest part of importance, like we seem to have mentioned over and over so far, is that the opening stint is really going to set up your track position for how you're going to handle that potential last 70 to 80 laps. Nobody knows when this random stage brake is going to come out. You could make it to lap 36, save a little fuel, make it to 37, boom, caution comes out at lap 41. Then you may be able to take the track position, deal without the tires, get a little top off of fuel, and be able to make a run and not lose too much time when we do get back going. If we get to a later part of the stage brake towards lap 45 to 50, it's going to shake everything up, because I think all of the drivers, all the crew chiefs on the pit box are going to be way too concerned about the tire wear that they're going to feel like they have to take the tires when they know they're not pitting under green flag conditions, as we have been green so far through the first 22 laps of this 120 lap event.
Quisenberry there going side by side with MoFlo's own Jared Lindsay. Remember, Quisenberry's got that 6-point lead over Randy Arms in the point standings, so we're almost to roughly we're about the half-ish way for the stage break, And he's running up into Lindsay a little bit out of 4. They touch.
There's contact there, absolutely, and then that's going to open the door as well behind for the number 22 car of Todd Slauson to be able to make a look onto the outside of Landon Quisenberry, who chooses to take the low side. We may have an opportunity of going 3 wide as they're coming across the front stretch in front of us the next time by, but it looks like maybe Todd Slauson's going to do the better thing, help out Jared Lindsay, give him a little push, and he does. He's able to get by Landon Quisenberry, and as you mentioned, in that points championship race right now, as it runs, Randy Arms is really separating himself where he, with the points win bonus, if he were to win today, would come out as your points leader at the end of this race. So Quisenberry not off to the hot start that he would really like. He is up 3 positions from the dismal qualifying run of starting 9th, but 6th place is certainly not up to his standard for where he expects to be in this points race championship. As we ride on board with him right now, looking ahead at Todd Slauson and Jared Lindsay, you can really see the difference of lines. Lindsay's wanting to go in, and there we see it. There we see the strategy already starting to take effect. There goes Randy Arms right down pit lane. I believe that may also be Kyle Ritchie followed him in. Both of the drivers choosing to take a lap 25, a short pit. We'll have to go down to pit road and see if we can find out any more information on how many tires they get. As we can see a little bit of dust coming off, they must not have gotten the air dryers out over pit lane before the start of this race. A little dusty from the sand blowing all around with that little 10-mile-an-hour wind. But that is going to put Jonathan Schwartz as your race leader right now by 1.6 seconds, as he is choosing to stay out and maintain the lead. That will be his first lap led of the race, as Randy Arms and Kyle Ritchie relinquish first and second place and choose to play the strategy. They will come out of pit road 1 lap down in 16th and 17th place, the timing board says. So they're gonna have their work cut out for them. We will see as the next couple of laps come by on the timing charts what kind of difference in time they're going to be able to have. I would expect they will stay out obviously until the stage break, but they're really playing a little bit of Las Vegas gambling luck, that they're hoping for a later caution than a shorter one that'll give them a massive tire advantage as we start getting into the later stages and everyone else has to make their pit stops. This is quite an interesting move. I'm quite surprised, Avery, to see that from the race leader.
Oh, big wreck. Quisenberry.
Oh, and we have a wreck. Quisenberry's involved. Oh, no, Todd Slauson's involved. Quisenberry with a fantastic job of keeping it down. Oh, no. And we have other cars trying to check up the 88 of, I don't know who's in the 88.
Oh, so that's
But
Brandon
there's
French.
a lot of checking up. That's Brandon French.
Yeah, he's got the wrong number.
He was able to check up as well. Yeah, that's the 08, but that is the 88 Dale Jarrett. Beautiful replica scheme there. All the drivers appear to do a pretty good job of having the contact, maybe a slight brush off of the wall by Quisenberry, but I did not see a whole lot of damage in here. We'll take a look at the replay as drivers are really starting to settle down here. Yeah, here we see Quisenberry getting a really good run onto the 22 of Todd Slauson, holding it down right on the bottom. It seems like the car's got a lot of good grip there, but then you see Todd Slauson all up at the line, and then there's where you see it. Mazzella and Slauson just slightly off-centered. You could see Quisenberry didn't quite know that Mazzella was just about half a car length off. They were certainly well up against the wall. Plenty of room for Quisenberry to have been able to have worked there, but did make that contact with Mazzella and got him into Todd Slauson, and around they went. But I believe both cars did a pretty good job of managing the damage, Avery. I don't know if you got any better look, but I don't think either of them got too badly affected. I would say Jonathan Mazzella probably got a pretty good bit of right front damage getting pushed into that outside wall. Yeah, and then you see the 08 of Brandon French just having to check up his kind of madness all in front and does a fantastic job getting on the brakes, getting it woed down, really doing a good job of not getting it caught up. But I think everybody might be okay there. Mazzella's the one I'm kind of worried about what his right front maybe looks like. We'll have to see what kind of time he spends on pit road as they maybe look to repair the damage.
Yeah, they look relatively clean. Let's take a look at it from the from our eyes in the skies. We paid for the blimp. Let's get the blimp.
Yeah, we'll look at the blimp cam here. We can see it a little bit better. Mazzella taking a peek, not quite up at that wall, but just enough. Quisenberry gets caught right on that corner as he's coming up, and they all come together there. But think all the cars do look good. Maybe we can get a little bit of a better shot on the right front of Mazzella's car, but I think Quisenberry, as we saw him going by, did a fantastic job of not impacting the inside wall. And yeah, there you see it. The left side of the body looks good from the contact with Quisenberry. We'll be able to get a better look as we get to the front stretch. And yeah, there we see it. We'll take a look at the suspension. I think it looks clean. Everything looks like it's all put together. I don't see anything dented up or broken with that machine. I think everybody's good to go after that incident.
Yeah, it definitely looks clean. The Madison, Florida driver, Mr. Jonathan Mazzella. Yeah, I think the car looks clean. It was, for a 3-car incident, it looked what would have been pretty serious. Ended up being okay.
And that's what you're going to get when you have some of the best Speedzone Sports Series drivers in the world going at it. It's very clean racing. Everybody doing a fantastic job of getting around and through the wreck. But really, I think the biggest losers here, Avery, are Kyle Ritchie, Randy Arms. Several other drivers started to pit. You see them having to take the wave around now to be able to get back on the lead lap. It was only a few laps after they had pitted, but all the other drivers that chose to stay out are going to be able to come down. They've got their fresh tires. They're going to be a few laps better, but now Randy Arms, Kyle Ritchie are going to be stuck in the field, and that was really a fantastic move by Jonathan Schwartz, and even surprisingly, Landon Quisenberry, by not getting caught up too badly in that wreck, finds himself in second place now as he got through all of that madness. So there it is. You see them all lined up as we're getting ready to go. Schwartz, Quisenberry, Kevin Ritchie, Ryan Tiller, Cade Ferguson, Michael Cochran, Brandon French, Todd Slauson, Casey Herring, Randy Arms is your top 10 as everybody is getting ready to go. But it looks like there was possibly 6 different cars that all pitted before that incident happened, really shaking up the track position, albeit everybody is back on the same lap as we are getting ready to go green again. As you see, the starter is ready to have a restart. They bring it into the restart zone, and the green flag is out. The green flag is in the air, and away we go as we are on lap 31 of 120 with a random caution stage break coming between lap 40 and 50. So we have at most 19 more laps of racing before we will be back under caution again. I think this is when you're going to see some drivers really try to make a mad sprint dash to get that track position back before the caution comes back out.
Yeah, can Randy Arms get back up there? Can Kyle Ritchie get back up there? I don't know. It's Jonathan Schwartz out in front, and then Quisenberry. Oh, sideways is Quisenberry. He saves it. I'm not sure if that was that Cheerwine number 51 of Kevin Ritchie. The other Ritchie, he's doing a good job out there.
Yeah, he's making a little bit of a move there, but there we see Cade Ferguson also wanted to take a look on the inside. Not able to do it, but Quisenberry still holding on the outside. Kevin Ritchie looking up front. Randy Arms, though, with an absolute phenomenal restart, has already gone up from 10th place back up into the top 5, and there you see him going around Cade Ferguson and making a look as we've got Landon Quisenberry, Ryan Tiller going side by side as they're 3 wide, using the apron, using the high line all across the front stretch. They are really pushing, and there's absolutely no reason to not push it when you have such a short period before you know a caution's coming out, even with the randomness of it. Now is the time to go. Use everything you've got. You can really reload the car with fresh rubber when we get that stage break caution. And there you see Randy Arms already back up the fourth, riding on board, looking to make a move underneath the Ron Tiller right now. Looks like Tiller is maybe going to leave that door open on the inside for Randy to take a peek, maybe knowing Randy's got a little more speed today in his car so far as the track's starting to rubber in. But they will be side by side out of turn 2 as Ryan is going to maintain that run headed down into turn 3, and Kevin Ritchie right in front of them as well. Both drivers are taking a look at. Schwartz has also ran away so far by half a second as he's clearly proven he has certainly got some speed as well when he gets that clean air out front. But Randy Arms, certainly the big mover so far, as well as Kyle Ritchie getting back up into 7th, but not as good as getting through the field. And there goes Randy Arms going into 2nd place as he just made an absolute dive bomb past Kevin Ritchie and Ryan Tiller coming out of 2. And Randy Arms is back up to 2nd, and he's looking to hunt down Jonathan Schwartz before this stage break comes out.
Looking at that replay.
Take a look at it again. Yeah, we'll take a look at it again. Here we see him coming down the front stretch. Randy getting a really nice look. Kevin Ritchie able to really utilize that outside line. He's been doing it really well. But you can see Randy really drives it in. You can almost see the wiggle of the rear end, how he keeps that car from not stepping out, I don't know. That's what makes them such phenomenal drivers in this Speedzone Esports Busch Series. But he is back up into second and really negating a lot of the losses that came from that unfortunately timed caution that did happen to him. And he is looking to chase down Schwartz, who has been able to take advantage of the racing behind him and stretch it out to a 7/10 lead so far, as we're now turning lap 37 of 120, just mere laps away from the potential caution stage break. So Randy Arms doing a really good job. I don't think he'll have the time to get all the way up to Jonathan Schwartz, but certainly regain the track position without having to really lose anything more with it, and did create a little bit of separation from Kyle Ritchie, who is still stuck in 7th place right now, really having a time trying to get by Kate Ferguson and Landon Quisenberry as the laps go on, and you get kind of caught up in that side-by-side lap traffic deeper throughout the field. Randy Arms making really good moves on the opening 2 laps of the restart to put himself back up into 2nd place. As here we see the 44 car of Brandon Schermersheim over Jonathan Mazzella, and he will take that pretty handily. Mazzella still trying to work in that high line. He hasn't quite found the success I think he's looking for with that yet, but as the race gets a little deeper in the run, we'll see if maybe that starts to play out for him. But now he's got Casey Herring all over his rear bumper, wanting to go by 2, and he will take a look onto the inside as Mazzella does hold to the outside still. I think that's very interesting, Avery. Mazzella is seeming so tried and true to the high side when it just has not seemed to work through him so far through these opening 39 laps. Absolutely. You know, Michael Cochran doesn't give an inch for anybody. A lot of people call him a modern era Ryan Newman, and you know he's going to bring the fight to you as he's running 7th and is by far and away our hard charger so far in today's race, up 10 positions from starting 17th today. We pointed out we thought he had a good long run car. He's certainly making the most of it on this short run and is finding himself up into a really good spot as we are into that window now for the stage break. So nobody knows when it's going to come out. You can see as we're riding on board with Kate Ferguson, you see everybody somewhat in the top 10. Oh, a little wiggle from Kate there getting out of the corner. Does a good job to correct it. A lot of drivers there in the top 10 you see are all utilizing that bottom line right now, trying to make the most of it. Granted, I think all of these cars will come and get fresh rubber whenever we do have this stage break happen. But there, as we see it, Kate Ferguson still looking underneath Jared Lindsay right in front of him. It's going to be a really good race. We're going to have to see if anybody can do anything in there. You see Randy Arms still having to hold off Kevin Ritchie and Ryan Tiller as they are going side by side behind him out of turn 4 and looking to open the door for points leader Landon Quisenberry to maybe join himself into this little bit of a battle we have. 4 drivers all fighting for 2nd place. As there it goes, Ryan Tiller looks inside of Randy. He's going to slide up a little bit. It gets a little tight. Quisenberry's going to have to check up. Randy Arms able to use that momentum off the outside. Gets Kevin Ritchie looking underneath them now. They're side by side going into 3. This is topsy-turvy. One time, oh, they touch! They touch Kevin Ritchie, Randy Arms, a little bit of a touch. It's going to send Randy a little wide. He's able to not touch the wall. Keeps that momentum, and they're still side by side as they're headed down into turn 1.
Wow, what a battle there. Kevin Ritchie to the inside, and you know, that driver on the inside has been getting tight, and that's what happened with Tiller on turn 3. Oh, Tiller into the outside wall, but caution's out. There's your
Tiller
stage break.
touches it. There's the stage break. Stage break caution has come out. It has come out as we are working on lap number 42. So as the drivers are beginning lap 43, it looks like race control has decided to put the caution out, and that will allow everybody to really kind of calm down, settle in. We can start to really see how the strategy is going to kind of play effect. We can only presume a lot of the drivers will all take 4 tires and plan this on being a 2-stop run to the finish, as we have the remaining 80 laps remaining, I believe, we do have. And there you see Jonathan Schwartz, our stage winner, really got lucky. He decided to stay out when Randy Arms chose to pit on lap 25. Jonathan Schwartz staying out, being the benefactor of a caution that came just shortly after on lap 30. And he will win the stage break. He will get the opportunity to bring his car down pit lane first and get him 4 fresh tires and a full tank of Sunoco fuel, which will be super beneficial for being able to make this run in possibly just one stop. I don't know, Avery, if you're able to crunch numbers a little better than I am, but where are we looking at on the strategy as we look towards getting to the end of this race?
It's going to be really tight. Well, we'll see what lap we go green. Schwartz blinked a little bit. What lap we go green, you're looking at 36 to 37 laps on fuel, so possibly. But we'll see how they come into pit lane. Look at Kevin Ritchie in that Cheerwine number 51 Chevrolet.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. You can see the right side goes up. All the cars you see now going into pit lane. Mazzella getting the last in with the high up pit stop. You can see everybody getting right sides, everybody getting left sides. It does look like Kevin Ritchie gets a really nice start, but Schwartz, his pit crew, will prove to be the fastest, and Randy Arms right behind him. Both go in 1-2, both come out 1-2, and that is how they're going to start as we get into the second portion of this stage, or the second stage of this race. And we will, as we let the cars come back around, we will get you the restarting order for these drivers as we go to stage 2. But it looks like not too much change in position there. It seems like most drivers got in where they were and got out where they were. Maybe Cade Ferguson down a position off of that pit stop, and I believe maybe Jared Lindsay lost out a position to Kyle Ritchie on the pit stops. Both of them went in very close together. That just shows the difference in how your pit crew really gets this car, the 4 wheels change, get the fuel in the car, can really make a difference in how the track position does work. As we see the pace car coming across the start finish line will give us a clear timing board, and we will give you a rundown of the race order, as I believe there is 2 laps to green. Oh no, we are on the 1 lap to green. The pace lights are out. You can see the wave by going around right now. That should put Mikey Adams back on to just 1 lap down, and we'll give him at least 1, so he's certainly going to be hoping for 1 more caution to get an opportunity to get back around as well and onto the lead lap. But here, as we see him lined up, we will have Schwartz, Randy Arms, Kevin Ritchie, Landon Quisenberry, Ryan Tiller, Kyle Ritchie, Jared Lindsay, Michael Cochran, Cade Ferguson, and Alex Chera are your top 10, followed by Brandon Sermersheim, Jonathan Mazzella, Randy Sample, Casey Herring, Brandon French, Andrew Bruce running 16th, Eric Shields 17th, Todd Slauson, Mikey Adams, Ryan Simmons, Tyler French, and Wyatt Garrett, who I do not think was able to go much longer than the opening few laps of the race. But that is your full leader rundown as we are waiting for the pace car to dip back down and let this starter restart this race going into stage 2. I will be expecting to see how good of a restart Randy Arms can get. And the green flag is out. There's a lot later in the restart to that time by Jonathan Schwartz commanding the restart. And there you see Randy Arms a little bit slower, and Kevin Ritchie is going to have an opportunity on the inside and look down to take second place as they're going to come out of turn 2.
Look at Kyle Ritchie out there in that 76 who's starting the outside of the front row, and there's Tiller falling back a little bit. Jared Lindsay, that MoFlo racing car, he's always fast, but I think the driver to look for is Randy Arms on the outside of Kevin Ritchie, and they're boot scooting boogieing around here. Side by side is the Ritchie brothers.
Yeah, 1-2 is the leader, Randy Arms, and there we see 3 wide. Jared Lindsay is going to make a move on Kyle Ritchie and Kevin Ritchie. Underneath, going into turn 1, we'll see if Jared Lindsay's able to hold it. Coming out of turn 2, we've seen a lot of momentum get broken as they come down this back stretch, and it does look like Jared Lindsay is still going to be alongside Kyle Ritchie as they enter into turn 3. But an absolutely daredevil move by Jared Lindsay off of the restart to be able to take that run on turn 4 and really utilize it, using the apron, doing everything he can to shortcut the course. But they are still side by side as it looks like Kyle Ritchie is going to be able to hold him off for now. But Randy Arms has taken the lead over Jonathan Schwartz. And there goes Kyle Ritchie taking a look on Jonathan Schwartz as well. Schwartz not having the restart that he would have liked just 2 laps in to stage number 2.
Yeah, let's take a look at that replay of Randy Arms making the pass here for position number 1.
Yeah, we'll take a look back at this. We'll see the kind of move Randy made.
Ooh.
He kind of pulls a fake on him. Randy was utilizing that high line those opening 2 laps of the restart. Chooses to cut low. Schwartz was not quite able to get his car quite able to seal off that white line. And that is how we've had a change in pace. And our pole sitter is now our current race leader once again. Randy Arms leads this race. Kyle Ritchie, Jared Lindsay, your top 3. Jonathan Schwartz has fallen back all the way to 4th on this restart. That has not been good for him, as he has a pack of cars behind him, all wanting to be where he wants to be.
Jonathan Mazzella involved in that incident. He is out there running really strong there on the inside of, looks like, Cade Ferguson, trying to get around that 92 of Alex Chura.
Yeah, it is. It's Cade Ferguson and Landon Quisenberry all alongside. It looks like Mr. Jonathan Mazzella looking to keep on that low line now. We know we saw him as a highline hero in the opening stages of the race. It looks like he's chosen and had a talk with the crew. They're changing it up. They're starting off this run, sticking to the inside. As you can see, he's got Michael Cochran on the outside, as well as Alex Chira all right there on the outside. But Landon Quisenberry has also not had a great restart. Still
Jared Lindsay making moves.
8th. And there's Jared Lindsay making moves on Kyle Ritchie. Not quite able to get there, though. He's going to have to concede it going into 3 as Kyle Ritchie shuts the door off. And here we're going to take a look at it again. Jared Lindsay looking on him. You see Schwartz right there behind a car length away. Oh, and Lindsay gets underneath, but does actually make contact with the rear bumper there of Kyle Ritchie. Unsettles the car. Ritchie with a really nice job of keeping that car from under him, not losing the rear, spinning out in front of this hungry hound of a field behind him. And looks like maybe Jared Lindsay doing the respectable gentlemanly thing, letting things settle back out, getting back in line. Jared Lindsay's going to do things the right way as he works his way up through this field, as they are starting to separate themselves. The top 3 as they come by this time: Randy Arms, Kyle Ritchie, Jared Lindsay, Jonathan Schwartz, and Ryan Tiller, your top 5, as there is a ton of cars all sitting right behind them looking to make moves. And there's Quisenberry wanting to make a look as well on the 50. Kevin Ritchie maybe taking a peek to the inside. Oh my goodness! Quisenberry has to cut off Alex Shearer. Alex Shearer up into the wall. He's gonna make a little bit of contact, I think minimal, but we did see the smoke come out there as Quisenberry shutting off the door real hard out of turn 2. Just fighting for everything for grip. I think he was really more slipping and sliding than any kind of intentional cutoff there, Avery. That is just really hard racing and showing just how hard these drivers are really pushing these cars right now.
Yeah, Mazzella there coming tight. Now the key with your comment earlier, before we went green, I look at my math. We had about 72 laps from this green flag run, 71, 72, and we're looking at possibly 36 to 37 laps. So this could be a one-stop race. We'll find out as those laps go on.
Yeah, we will see. It's very interesting in how the timing will work out. You kind of have to go one way or the other. You either go for a long run, maybe you can make it and stretch it with a little bit of fuel saving and not lose as much as a second pit stop, or we may see something similar like what we saw Randy Arms and Kyle Ritchie do in the opening stage, pitting around 25 laps in, maybe doing 2 stops for tires and seeing if the speed will make up the difference. I don't know if I foresee that playing out as a race-winning move, but if other drivers do end up being short on fuel, it certainly will be. As you can see, the top 5 all red on our screen, all taking all sorts of lines. You see from the bottom all the way to the top. Top 3 certainly preferring the bottom right now, as Lindsay is staying right tight on to Kyle Ritchie as they go down the backstretch. And there we even see Kevin Ritchie taking a look on Landon Quisenberry, as Quisenberry has really had a hard time getting his car settled into this run. He's certainly been stuck on the high line a lot. That'll really make an effect to the right rear tire, having to really use that accelerator pedal to drive off the corner, and has put him in a bad spot as Quisenberry is still side by side with Ryan Tiller looking to go underneath him. And there you see Ryan Tiller getting a little bit tight, driving a little too hard into turn 1 and having to back off. That's going to open the door. Quisenberry is going to be able to get by Alex Chira, also pushing by. not quite able to get down, but it has allowed for our points leader, Landon Quisenberry, to have a little bit of free space to get settled in, maybe make a hard charging run back into this top 5.
Yeah, Quisenberry, you know, trying to maintain that points lead. You know, he's battling with. That's that driver of the leader, Randall Arms. And let's get back to. Ooh, caution's out.
And there's a caution. Caution's out. Jonathan Mazzella is in the wall. Ryan Tiller is in the wall. I think they maybe both came together somewhere. We are right on top of it at the Race Sim Network. Let's take a look on the replay. Here we see it. Ooh, I believe that's Kevin Ritchie with a little touch, and there's Ryan Tiller getting uptight into the wall and collects Mazzella, as well as both cars are up in the wall coming to a stop. Nothing too insane there, but oh, I don't know quite who that car number is behind that does make the heavy front end contact to the rear of Mazzella, but that is certainly not good. Maybe Todd Slauson, I believe, possibly had that contact, but it does look like Ryan Taylor, Jonathan Mazzella, and Todd Slauson all accumulating damage from that wreck. And I don't know, Avery, how do you see why that happened?
We're gonna take another look at it from up top, see if we can find out what really happened. And honestly, it looked like a bunch of cars going for the same piece of real estate.
Yeah, it does. It's very interesting how Kevin Ritchie made that slight contact with Mazzella. I don't think that really had anything to do with it, but almost simultaneously at the same time, you see Ryan just gets a little too tight going into one, not able to get that car to bite the way he wants to going in. Just maybe a little bit of a effect from being on a certain line, a little bump in the track. This track does certainly have bumps all throughout the corners, but there you see good slight contact into that safer barrier outside into turn 1, and that does bring out our 3rd caution of the day. We've had 2 driver incidents in the 1 stage break that we saw on lap 43, and crew's gonna get out there, gonna clean up the track a little bit, make sure the cars are okay, but that will certainly turn this into a one-stop race, I would assume. Everybody comes down pitch right now, make sure they have fuel. It's a one-stop race from here on out, assuming things stay green from here.
Yeah, and there's one thing to keep in mind. There's drivers that are decided to not make the pit, and that's the top 5. It's Ferguson, Quisenberry, Sample, Ritchie, Shields, who stay out. The first driver with 4 tires, that's the driver of the number 8, Randy Arms.
Yeah, absolutely, Randy Arms, and he was looking pretty good in front, and he's looked very phenomenal on restarts as well. I don't think it's going to take him too much time to be able to get past this top 5 and back into the lead. It'll really be a matter of whether Kyle Ritchie, Jared Lindsay, even Jonathan Schwartz is going to be able to do the same as Randy Arms has proven all race long so far, that the restarts are king to Randy Arms, and he has made a lot of track positions up through them. We will see if everybody else is able to follow suit, as there are some people staying out, which will be a very interesting restart for sure, with 5 cars on a little older tires. They've been running on them for a good 20 laps. I am somewhat surprised to see the drivers chose to stay out. Why do you think they chose to stay out here, Avery?
You know, track position's king. I think the cars, I mean, one of the cars that stays out, that's your leader. In the point settings, that's Landon Quisenberry, who's going to start on the inside of, because Ferguson looks like he chose the outside line. So, I mean, you could think with Quisenberry there, you know, you guys got to run 27 laps if you want to run halfway through. We're looking at about, that's going to be the cutoff will be about lap 93. We think drivers are going to come down into the pits, so that might be the reason behind that. Not 100% sure, but yeah, we'll see what happens here with these drivers. I mean, you know, if you get a couple cautions, it's going to work out. But if it stays green, I mean, you saw how Randy and Kyle Ritchie worked up through the field.
Absolutely. I think they're going to make it like Swiss cheese right here, getting through the field. With that big of a tire difference, I do see the point of whether maybe they get lucky with an early caution. They're able to now come in for a little fresher rubber when everyone else has to stay out. Maybe they can hold their track position for the first few 5 laps, where all sitting here tuned in to find out right now on the Speedzone Esports Busch Series. Las Vegas 180 as the pace car is in, the starter is ready to restart, and the green flag is out. Away they go. Cade Ferguson did elect to start on the outside line there, putting Landon Quisenberry on the inside, and Cade Ferguson getting out to a very nice start with a few car lengths lead as they're going into turn one over Quisenberry, Kevin Ritchie, Randy Sample, Randy Arms already looking to the outside of Randy Sample as they go down the backstretch. I expect Randy to take the outside coming through 3 and 4 and really find some speed, getting himself to the front here. Look at him go. There he is alongside your points leader, Landon Quisenberry, as they come out of turn 2. Randy Arms clearly has the tires. He has the speed. He wants to get back to the lead. And behind him as well, we've got Schwartz. Also, Jonathan Schwartz sticking right there with him on the outside. He knows he can't let Randy Arms get away. And Randy Arms with a fantastic move to the inside over Cade Ferguson is going to take the lead. What a move out of turn 2 to cut to the bottom, get underneath Cade Ferguson, secure the deal on regaining the lead. Schwartz forced to go to the outside line, and that is going to create a 3/10 second gap of separation as all the drivers are just not getting underway. And here we've got Jared Lindsay underneath of Kevin Ritchie looking to get through, and there you see Kevin Ritchie stayed out. He's going high. He's actually up in the wall a little bit there. Certainly falling off. We're really finding out here, I think. Cade Ferguson doing okay, holding on to third place so far. But all of the drivers that stayed out and didn't take rubber are falling back quickly, and it will be interesting to see how this strategy plays out into their finishing position.
Yeah, Quisenberry falling back all the way back to 8th place in just a few laps. You're looking at maybe drivers coming around lap 92 going to come down and get their pit cycle. So they're when you have these runs, Kenan, when they're one pit stop race, you're gonna run aggressive here because I don't really need to worry too much about my tires, but we'll see what happens here. But I think you take a look at the winners of this: Randy, Schwartz, Lindsay, Ritchie, Kyle Ritchie, that is. And Sample, he's the one that's who came down on lap 45, so he's done pretty well. He's sitting at 5th place, but Jared Lindsay and Kyle Ritchie are putting on a show right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly Ryan Tiller and Jonathan Mazzella, who did have really good runs going, did sustain some damage, I believe, over that last caution, rubbing up against the wall. Maybe affected the aero a little bit. They haven't been able to get back through the field, even though they did pit and get it assessed during that caution. They just have not quite had the speed since the restart, and I'm sure they're having to affect a little bit of a possible toe-in, toe-out issue that they're having with that right front of the car, and you can almost kind of see on the right front of Jonathan Mazzella's wheel there. It is a little dinged in as he is really searching on the high line right now for some grip, and I think that just tells you the handling of his car after that incident on the last caution. But we are absolutely right, Randy Sample, but Alex Chira has now gone by. Randy Sample falls out of the top 5. Alex Chira is up 8 positions from his starting spot into the top 5. And we've got our Randy Arms, Jonathan Schwartz, Jared Lindsay, Kyle Ritchie, Alex Chira, our top 5, all drivers pitted on the last caution, and that is really where it's setting up to be the race. And you are absolutely right, Avery. The drivers that did pit that last caution, turning this race into a one-stop race. Now you can really look at the laps remaining. Okay, we've got 64 laps remaining. We can split that into 32. That's 4 laps less than what they were planning on a fuel run.
Wow, Jared Lindsay and Kyle Ritchie
You can
there.
really eat the tires up, and that was quite a move by Jared Lindsay. He kept it off the wall. He did keep it off of the wall, but we will have to see whether Ritchie's able to keep it on the bottom as they go through. We've seen drivers have a little bit of an issue fighting a little bit of tightness out of the corner. As we know, they're fighting a little bit of a headwind going into 3, a little bit of a tailwind going into 1 with that 10-mile-an-hour northeast wind. And that does allow for Jared Lindsay to secure 2nd place right now over Kyle Ritchie. And there's Jonathan Schwartz all behind all 3 positions, certainly not settled and finished for. And there we see Randy Arms and our points leader, Landon Quisenberry, still having to fight on that outside line. Quisenberry has just not quite found the speed from his car today that I think he'd really like is there. He is letting by Ryan Tiller and Randy Sample. Maybe has a little room behind him. He can start to settle in, maybe find a little better traction in the car. That's so far not been the race that Landon Quisenberry would want as he's running in 9th.
Yeah, not the race, Quisenberry wanted for sure, Kenan. If he wants to come in and pit, as early as he can. That window opens up at lap 84, but I don't think you're gonna. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you kind of already laid your bed. You kind of need to come maybe in the pits that early, but you see Quisenberry, he's just falling back, and there's Cochran up in 6th. But I tell you what, I really like that move that those top 6 drivers did. They realized it's a one-stop race. I might as well just come in and get that fresh Goodyear tires and get going on that racetrack, because now we got side-by-side battle for second with Lindsay and Richie.
Yeah, Lindsay and Richie. Lindsay on the inside, Kyle Richie looking on the outside, opposite of how they did this the previous lap before. Lindsay's still holding tight to that bottom line. We have seen drivers, he carries good momentum down the backstretch. Jared Lindsay is going to stay alongside the quarter panel as they head back into turn 3, which will give a little bit of an advantage to Jared Lindsay as they get through turns 3 and 4. And there you can see it pulling up alongside. They nearly touch, no contact though. Kyle Richie having to take it all the way out to the wall, and they are neck and neck right behind race leader Randy Arms, headed back into turn 1 with a fantastic side-by-side battle.
Yeah, they're side by side, and I tell you what, yeah, they're side by side, but they're starting to creep in on that Randy Arms machine that won last week, 6 points back from Quisenberry, was back in 9th. So if Randy can pull off this win, you're going to talk to the new points leader at the Speedzone Esports Busch Series.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're very right, Avery. That last lap before, Kyle Richie and Jared Lindsay both 1/10 quicker, even though they were side by side over Randy Arms, which makes you wonder, does Randy Arms recognize what's going on in his mirror? Maybe he's trying to save a little bit of tires. When he sees the drivers racing behind him, he knows he can give up a little bit more, maybe do a little conservation, as we'll see what the lap times look right now. But there you can see off of the rear end of Randy Arms, all the way the distance, Kyle Richie, Jared Lindsay, Jonathan Schwartz, and Alex Chira, the rest of the top 5. And there we see the lap times. Randy Arms was the quickest. Randy Arms was the quickest. However, Alex Chira pops in as the quickest of the top 5 by just 1/1000th of a second. Just incredibly tight between the top 5 right now in the lap times, as we see everybody started to single file out. Kyle Richie and Jared Lindsay have somewhat seceded their battle for now, as they all need to keep in sights, queuing up to Randy Arms and being able to make this a fight for the win, as we are just getting ready to near 40 laps to go.
Yeah, Schwartz, he's doing a good job. Remember, he was one of the beneficiaries of that first caution when Kyle Richie and Randy Arms came down to the pits. And I tell you what, man, Kyle and Jared Lindsay are just pushing it to the limit. Pit window's going to open up around lap 84, 85, but I don't see drivers coming in until like 92, 91. You want to undercut it just a little bit with these Class B cars here on iRacing, so we'll see what happens here. But if you're Randy and Kyle Richie, Kenan, are you going to be a little nervous to come in the pits?
Yeah, I would think so, and especially if you do it too early. The pit window is getting ready to open in about 5 laps. We could see drivers try to take an opportunity to short pit, maybe get some faster lap times a little earlier in there. Look at Schwartz pulling an extreme outside line and getting a huge run off of turn 4. He's going to have an opportunity to look outside of Jared Lindsay heading down into turn 1. I don't think we've seen a driver run that extreme of a high line in 3 and 4 all race long, but Schwartz puts one lap together and really makes a move, and you can see the momentum is on as Schwartz is really heating up the pressure here. But back to your point, and then we got Jared Lindsay making another look on a Kyle Richie, and you just know Randy Arms is loving what he's seeing and hearing from his spotter right now. Just looking into his mirror, seeing all of this fighting going on. Randy Arms has almost opened up the gap up to a whole second, and there you see them 3 wide. Kyle Richie, Jared Lindsay, Jonathan Schwartz as they head to 1 off the rear bumper of Randy Arms, and that gap is only getting longer and longer as 3 lanes get used through turn 1. Schwartz choosing to fall back in the line, gets outside of Jared Lindsay a little bit, but Lindsay is still going to continue to force the issue on Kyle Richie. It seems like Jared Lindsay feels like he has the speed and he needs to get by Kyle Richie now, or he's costing himself. There has to be a reason for why he's really pushing this hard to get by and losing so much lap time to Randy Arms in this situation just before potentially the pit window opening.
Yeah, they're running 0.2 of a lap slower than Randy Arms there. So, I mean, you're just letting Randy pull away right now if you're just battling side by side. I don't understand it. I'm also not as fast as these drivers, but when you're losing, it was .4 was the tightness of the gap, and it's 1.2 right now. They're just battling so hard, and I know it's
Yeah.
important. Every position's important, but Randy just loving it because he just on that Sunday cruise and no, hey, goodbye. So really good job by Randy to pull away as these drivers battle behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Ritchie, Jared Lindsay, Jonathan Schwartz, all trading positions. Absolutely phenomenal racing from where we are up at the top of the press box on the front stretch. It is just an absolute joy to watch. But in the perspective of the race, Randy Arms is certainly running away with this, as this gap is now almost a second and a half. And there we see Kyle Ritchie just breaking away a little bit, but Randy Arms is certainly putting himself into the strong point, as these drivers will all have to make one more stop. We would presume all drivers will take 4 tires in full fuel as long as that last run will be. And it's very interesting to see how the gap has grown from Randy Arms, as he is really out there driving by himself right now. If him and his crew can execute a perfect pit stop, he is certainly in the position to not only take this Las Vegas 180 victory, but also position himself at the top of the points championship board.
Speaking of pits, Randy Sample making his way down pit lane.
Yeah, there Randy Sample comes. I believe that's Cade Ferguson as well. That's 2 drivers that both stayed out on that last stop. And they're doing basically what we kind of predicted. They made it to just enough on the fuel window. So they are expecting this to be their final stop of the race, as we're just at 35 laps remaining. And very interesting, though, it did not really play out too well for them, as both drivers pitted in the 13th and 14th position. They're now sitting at 16th and 17th, and will go a lap down for the time being until the rest of these drivers decide to pit, which does leave the question open of how late do you want to stay out in hopes of a caution.
Mazzella, Bruce, Shermersheim into the pits, making their scheduled pit stop right now. I remember Mazzella was in that incident, both of the non-stage cautions, so he's back out there, boot scooting and boogieing his way around. And Randy Arms, like we were saying, he's just out in front. 1.6 seconds is that gap. Oh, speaking of pit stops, it's Quisenberry. He also came down and did not come down in the pits before that. Here comes Brandon French onto the pits.
Yes, absolutely. It does look like all of the drivers so far that stayed out on that previous caution have all hit pit lane so far, getting fresh rubber, looking to make their final stop all the way to the end. They will come back on track a lot faster than our race leaders for the momentarily. Oh, and there's Cochran, a little bit of a late dive, gets it down to speed very nicely on time, down to that very, very slow 50-mile-per-hour pace speed limit that they do have on this pit lane. And there we see him going into pits. So we're starting to really turn up the strategy of drivers pitting. But I think if you're one of these top 5 cars, you've still got a good 5 or 6 laps before you feel like you have to pit. I think these 5-6 drivers are all playing their own little game with the strategy after how the cautions fell, that they can give up 5 or 6 laps over these other drivers and be able to pit, have that much better rubber coming down to just 25, 26 laps remaining, and really be able to use everything they can out of those Goodyear tires. And that will make things really quite excellent for the finish, as things really have not let up between Jared Lindsay and Kyle Ritchie. Jonathan Schwartz has been able to take it, and there we see it. Jared Lindsay, the first mover of the top 5, headed down pit lane. He is the first to make the call as soon as he started to fall off of Jonathan Schwartz and Kyle Ritchie. He makes the call. He wants fresh rubber. There's 30 laps to go in this Las Vegas 180, and the chips are all starting to get played right now. We will stay close attention to our race leader, Randy Arms, as you see him there on your screen with the 1.7 second lead. It does not look like he's going to pit this time. He's still staying out. His lap times are still quite competitive, running 31.8. And there's Kyle Ritchie. Kyle Ritchie just in front of Jared Lindsay the lap before Kyle Ritchie, deciding he's fallen off from Jonathan Schwartz, decides to come in and get fresh rubber as well. What they're really hoping to do is they can do a strategy where they can pit 2 to 3 laps before the cars in front of them. And by having that fresh rubber 2 to 3 laps earlier, when Jonathan Schwartz and Randy Arms do decide to come down pit road, as we see race leader Randy Arms coming down pit road, you see him on the wheel, really having to keep that thing straight as he gets like, whoa, down to 50 miles an hour. Looks like he did. We don't see any issues yet from the timing lines, but quite unstable as he is sending it as hard as he can. And Schwartz, I would presume, has to pit this lap as he is really the last car to stay out with Alex Chera, and both drivers running 1-2. You see the separation between them. Both of these drivers did pit on the last caution, and we will have to see, but no, not this time by. Both drivers are gonna stay out another lap. That may hurt them in the long run.
Yeah,
like I was kind of getting to the point, if they can jump just a couple laps ahead, when Jonathan Schwartz comes out of the pit stops, he's gonna be behind them. Oh, and I apologize, that is Mikey Adams, the lap car behind Jonathan Schwartz, not Alex Chera, but Alex Chera still having a nice job running in second position as we see them in certainly both cars were looking to pit soon. But just those couple of laps to get yourself that track position ahead now puts the game on Schwartz. Even with fast tires, he has to pass you if he wants to beat you.
Here's Shira coming to pits from second place. That's going to surrender second. And right now, your biggest gainer right now is Jared Lindsay, who's out in front, right? Or not out front, and currently will be second place once he passes Alex in the pits. But he's got a 2-second gap to Richie. He's got a about 2.5 second gap to Richie, Randy Arms and Randy Sample. So coming in that a little early at pit stop is helping him. I'm kind of curious when we're going to see that Jonathan Schwartz machine in the pits. He's running it along. It worked out well for him last time. You know, he's probably thinking, if we get a yellow, you know, these guys are going to have old tires.
I think that may be what you're seeing from Jonathan Schwartz and his camp. They are all thinking maybe a caution is going to come out. Maybe somebody on these fresh tires is going to get a little too throttle happy. It'll spin the car around. Something happens. But I would think at this point, as late as he stayed out and all of his competitors have already come in and gotten 4 fresh tires, fuel, rubber, everything they need to get to the end of this race, he is really only hurting his position of being able to make a charge back to the front. So we'll keep an eye on that as he is holding the field a lap down still currently, as Jared Lindsay is listed in second, still just about 1.7 seconds over who was our race leader, Randy Arms, and Kyle Ritchie, who was 2/10 ahead of Randy, getting a little bit of a better pit stop. Randy Arms, the crew just did not quite get what they wanted on the money stop right there, and that has set him in a little bit of traffic, but he's certainly got all the goals right in front of him. But there, as you see, Jared Lindsay, your presumable race leader, whenever the 58 car of Jonathan Schwartz does decide to come down pit lane, he has got really nice track position.
He comes in here.
A little bit of open road there, and he does not. Schwartz does not, as you'll see Jared Lindsay. This is not for the lead. This is Jared Lindsay getting his lap back from Jonathan Schwartz through the pit cycle. And until Schwartz pits, that's going to really throw off the whole kind of timing. But that really is your leader right there, Jared Lindsay. And then you see the 3 cars behind: Randy Arms, Kyle Ritchie, Randy Sample, all tight together right there, really all racing for the top 5.
Man, and Schwartz is just... Oh, they touched Schwartz and Randy Arms down.
There's a massive wreck on the front stretch. The 3 car of Andrew Bruce is involved. Randy Arms has a little bit of contact. Kyle Ritchie's involved. Jonathan Schwartz is involved. The caution is out, the 4th caution of the day. And just an absolute mishap between Jonathan Schwartz and 3 Wide Racing out of turn 4. Just a total difference of speed. Avery, break this down for us real quick.
Yeah, you got Schwartz there. He's holding his line, and you know he's so much slower, and they're also catching the Andrew Bruce there, and there's just not enough space for all those drivers. And man, what a massive wreck to not 1, not 2, but 3 of the drivers who were really competing for this win.
And that certainly shakes things up, and in many ways, it's going to be advantageous to Jared Lindsay, who did get back on the lead lap before this, but it may stick Randy Arms a lap down still. It may stick Kyle Ritchie a lap down, and you know who may come out of this somewhat victorious is Jonathan Schwartz, who is still on the lead lap, who can now come in and pit for that caution. But there, let's take a look again from the aerial view. You see the three cars. You got Bruce, Arms, Richie, all the speed coming around. You see Jonathan Schwartz just getting a little tight, a little loose all at the same time. Comes up into the outside, contacts the left side of Randy Arms, gets into Andrew Bruce, who makes light contact with Kyle Ritchie. I don't know if Kyle Ritchie maybe got as much damage as what it did appear, but just a really unfortunate incident. As you can see, all of the cars running that strategy getting bitten by the horse that stayed out, and there you see it. You can just see the hands on the wheel just fighting everything he could. You knew Jonathan Schwartz's tires had to be almost cooked to the limit. His pit stop was coming any time, but now we are going to have to reset the field, an opportunity for pit road to be open, drivers to be able to come down, look at maybe getting some fresh rubber again after being out for 10 laps, as we're looking at coming in to the this restart with just under 20 laps to go, possibly about 18 laps to go. And so, yeah, there we see the pit stops made. We'll wait for them to come back around the line to confirm the timing, but it does look like Jared Lindsay is going to be your race leader, followed by Kyle Ritchie, Randy Arms, Jonathan Schwartz. And that is quite a shakeup for everything going on between those races. We are looking to have a hot Las Vegas shootout in these final remaining laps to settle who's going to be the winner today in the Speedzone Esports Busch Series Las Vegas 180.
Yeah, Randy's car looking pretty good in that 8 Chevrolet, so I think I think he'll be all right. The one thing I want to keep an eye on is Jared Lindsay will have fresh, clean track, and I tell you what, man, that driver, he's fast. That MoFlo Racing driver, once he gets clean air, I think he's going to be sitting pretty good as we're on that 1 to green right now. And yeah, it's going to be Lindsay, Ritchie, Arms, and Schwartz still in that top 4. So real impressive. Now you're going to be looking at your camera right here or your screen and go, where's all the cars? Well, all them cars are moving around the racetrack, getting that wave around because they pitted early, and that's when the caution came out. So if Schwartz's car is going to feel good, he'll be all right. And there's Kevin Ritchie. I tell you what, he's a good dude, Kevin Ritchie. Out here at the racetrack here, currently sitting in that 12th position, one back from where he started. But I tell you what, though, Kenan, Jared Lindsay, Kyle Ritchie, front row, getting ready to go green.
Yeah, here we go. Getting ready to go green. We're going to be starting lap number 102 of this 120 lap event. And as they get going, Jared Lindsay gets a good restart over Kyle Ritchie. Does have a nice run. As you can see, Randy Arms on the inside, side by side with Jonathan Schwartz, where Schwartz is looking to take that outside. And I think the biggest thing that we really need to note here is we see Schwartz getting blocked off there by Kyle Ritchie. Kyle Ritchie shuts the door on Jonathan Schwartz down the backstretch there, both still 1 and 2, and Randy Arms looking onto the inside. But when we look at the pits, the one big factor here is Jonathan Schwartz with that caution, as well as Randy Sample. Both cars able to pit here this last caution.
Yeah,
Jared Lindsay, Kyle Ritchie, and Randy Arms all unable to pit. There's about a 10-lap tire difference between these cars. We'll see how it plays out as we're now working 18 laps to go.
Yeah, Lindsay, got that old tires, and yeah. Well, I like the call from Lindsay because, one, he's a wheel man, and two, he knows he's going to run his line, his race, and he's going to be where he's at. But they're side by side for second. Kyle Ritchie and Randy Arms, Chevrolet for Randy, and Toyota for Kyle Ritchie. Kyle Ritchie out driving his brother right now, his brother Kevin back in 7th. I always wonder with those two, since they live in the same place. Kenan, do you think they ever just go and plug the power cord when someone wrecks them?
I wouldn't be surprised. There may be fists thrown sometimes, depending on the severity of the incident. I am absolutely sure about that. But you can certainly see Kyle Ritchie and Randy Arms still both side by side, really holding off Jonathan Schwartz's charge, as Jonathan Schwartz is looking to make the most off of those tires on the outside line. He's going to be able to utilize that with just 16 laps to go. Not too much worry about the tire wear. You can
Oh, they
really
touch again.
run off that right rear, and there is contact between Randy Arms and Jonathan Schwartz. And there goes Kyle Ritchie looking on the inside of Jared Lindsay for the lead, and he's going to clear him. Slide jump up the track. Jared Lindsay looking back underneath, but Kyle Ritchie is going to lead this lap as there's just 15 laps to go in the Las Vegas 180 with Jared Lindsay looking back inside into turn 1.
15 laps to go. Kyle Ritchie gets back up to the lead, and Jared Lindsay is starting to fall back. And here comes Jonathan Schwartzy on the outside. Freshest tires on the racetrack for him. He's trying to cut his way around Lindsay. He's got to get around Kyle Ritchie if he wants to get that race win. He's 14 to go as we cross the start-finish line. And how about Randy Sample, who's kind of been in the back of the outside the top 5? He's up to 4th, battling for 3rd, and he's got the fresh tires.
Yeah, Randy Sample up 4 positions, looking on the inside of Jared Lindsay right now. Randy Arms looking to try and follow underneath as Randy Sample will take 3rd position and get right behind Jonathan Schwartz. As we see them run, Kyle Ritchie, Jonathan Schwartz, Randy Sample. Schwartz and Sample are both the most advantageous on the tire wear right now as we're coming out of turn 4, and they're looking to go 3 wide for the lead. Kyle Ritchie cuts it off from Randy Sample. Jonathan Schwartz still looking on the outside. He will have led that lap. Schwartz with the position on the outside, and there's not a lot Kyle Ritchie's going to be able to do there besides hold on. And there you see Kyle Ritchie really fighting some looseness off the corner. Sample having to back up, and there goes Sample underneath. They touch! Randy Sample, Kyle Ritchie into each other. They keep it straight. Everybody's moving. Randy Sample able to get going. Huge travesty for your last lap leader. Kyle Ritchie has now fallen all the way back to 5th. Let's take a look at that again, Avery.
Yeah, Kyle Ritchie goes to the inside there. Randy Sample was trying to hold off Randy Arms, and Carlo incident there between Ritchie and Sample, but we go back up green. We're back up to the lead. Jonathan Schwartzy with the half-second advantage over Jared Lindsay.
Jonathan Schwartz got himself with the fresh tires, all the room that he needs in the world out in front of him as he has opened up to a 7/10 lead, taking the 11 laps to go. This is certainly seizing up to possibly be Jonathan Schwartz's victory as Jared Lindsay does everything he can to hang on, and Randy Sample 8/10 back is certainly going to have his work cut out for him over this last 10.5 laps to get himself back up, even to Jared Lindsay, and even more importantly, maybe to make any kind of contest for the race victory over Jonathan Schwartz. As you can see, the cars with that incident all getting separated out there in the top 5. Schwartz, Lindsay, Sample, Arms, and Ritchie all kind of separated by several car lengths as we're now with just 10 laps remaining. This is certainly set up to be Jonathan Schwartz's victory to throw away at this point, as most of the cars are starting to single file and space out. Many of these cars have pitted between laps 86 and lap 90. Only a couple cars were able to pit on lap 99 in that previous caution with the way everybody got caught a lap down, and they had to utilize that waiver round. So we will see how things play out, as there you can see Randy Sample does make easy work on the high side of Jared Lindsay and will get himself into 2nd place, 1 second away from getting to race leader Jonathan Schwartz. 9 laps to go. Will there be enough time, Avery?
You take a look at the last lap time we bring up on the leader or the tower for just a minute. Fastest last time around was Randy Sample with that 31.05, a 10.5 quicker than Jonathan Schwartz. So we'll see at the line here. Schwartz a little bit off there, 31.19 and 31.19 again for Sample there. So I don't like Randy Sample's chances, but I like him better than some other drivers. But so Randy Sample's got to do what he needs to do to run the fastest lap possible to get back up and get to the lead.
Yeah, and we'll certainly take a look as the cars do come back across the timing line, see whether there's any sort of momentum being gained by Randy Sample over Jonathan Schwartz. And there, as you see it, Randy Sample, Jonathan Schwartz going by the line. Jonathan Schwartz a whole 10th faster at 31.334 to Randy Sample's 31.484. That is not going to be enough if Randy Sample wants to get up into a chance to fight for the lead, but he is up 6 positions from starting 8th today, having himself a very nice solid run and very handily in a solid spot to capture 2nd, barring any late race cautions. As there we see Randy Arms and Jared Lindsay going side by side out of 4. They're not done fighting for the top 3 yet, as they're side by side headed down into turn 1.
Randy's like, I want to have a post-race interview, and I need to do it, and I need to get around Jared Lindsay, get on that on the bottom step of the podium. But Lindsay just hard charging around Randall there. 6 laps to go here at Las Vegas.
6 laps to go. It seems like Jared Lindsay really being able to utilize the run off of the high line there. Not enough laps left to really worry too much about what you've got left in the tires if you've got something. So he's able to drive it out of the corner. Gets about a 3-car length separation between Jared Lindsay and Randy Arms as they head back down into turn 1. Schwartz still holding a commanding lead over Randy Sample by 1.5 seconds now. This is certainly well in Jonathan Schwartz's hand as he is closing in on finishing these 5 laps to go at Vegas. We will have to see whether he can hang on. Will there be a late race caution? Anything could still happen until the white flag is out. And right now, Jonathan Schwartz still in commanding lead as he takes 4 laps to go, headed off into turn 1.
Yeah, Schwartz, he just putting on a really good run. And, he had that incident, but, he was able to come down, get the fresh tires. And I think that was the call because the drivers with fresh tires, Jonathan Schwartz, Randy Sample, 1-2.
And there you see the lap traffic of Tyler French heating way to the race leader, doing the respectable thing there, allowing Jonathan Schwartz to continue running his race as the leader, as there is now just 3 laps remaining in the Las Vegas 180. Jonathan Schwartz still holding a commanding lead. Randy Sample certainly out of time, but well in second. But things still aren't finished between Randy Arms and Jared Lindsay, as they are just neck and neck with each other off of turn 2. We will see how this plays out over these final couple of laps, but certainly things are well in hand for Jonathan Schwartz in this race.
Yeah, Schwartz, he put on a really good run.
Yeah, Jonathan Schwartz is putting on a fantastic run here today. Did not have the start to the race that he had really wanted, got stuck in a little bit of traffic. Randy Arms really dominated this first opening portion, first stage, and really the first half of the second stage. But everything is Jonathan Schwartz today. And he is a non-winner so far this season. And we will see whether Jonathan Schwartz is able to get his first victory here in race number 5 of the Speedzone Esports Busch Series Las Vegas 180, as Jonathan Schwartz takes the white flag one more time around for Jonathan Schwartz. Everything's going through him. His spotter's in his head. Just take care of everything. All you got to do is bring it back home. Down the backstretch, Jonathan Schwartz comes. Plenty of a gap between him and Randy Sample. He could coast from here if he wanted to. He chooses to take the high line, the safe line. Randy Sample will hold off for a second, but today is Jonathan Schwartz's day. He will win the Las Vegas 180 Speedzone Esports Busch Series race at Las Vegas. Randy Sample taking up second place. A very close battle between Jared Lindsay and Randy Arms for 3rd and 4th, and Kyle Ritchie will take 5th place, rounding out the top 5, just 1 position ahead of his brother Kevin Ritchie. And wow, what a race. That was action-packed, Avery. That was a lot of switching up, a lot of different lead changes, and just really good, hard racing. As to say, we see Jonathan Schwartz take the checkered flag.
Jonathan Schwartz, like you said, got that win. Good job by him to come in and, he ran that, pit cycle long and, was involved in that incident. But at the end of the day, he brings it home in victory lane, and a really impressive run by Schwartzy. I tell you what, one big thing with Schwartzy, he led 46 of the 120 laps. So he did a great job. We're really impressed by his run, man. The other big thing, started 5th, made his way up to 1st, and he's going to burn it down. And really impressive run. Grabbed that checkered flag, the virtual checkered flag, and he did a great job at that win.
Absolutely. You can see they're not going to need this engine next week. His first victory of the season in the Speedzone Esports Busch Series, and just absolutely burning it down. We look forward to having an opportunity to speak with him for a moment once he gets done celebrating with him and his team. But while we look at it, the car's starting to head back into pit lane on the cool down laps, and it does look like we do have the finishing results ready. So there, as you see it, your race winner, Jonathan Schwartz, by 1.7 seconds over second place, Randy Sample. Both cars pitted on lap 99. Both cars able to make that work for the benefit of them, and they do come in first and second. Third place, Jared Lindsay. Fourth place, Randy Arms. We saw the battle between them, still neck and neck, all the way to the line between them, and rounding out the top five with Kyle Ritchie. Sixth place, Kevin Ritchie. Seventh place, Alex Chira. Eighth place, Casey Herring. Ninth place, Michael Cochran, with a really nice move, getting up 8 positions. And actually, Casey Herring even moving up 12 positions in his 8th place finish today. Mr. Jonathan Mazzella coming in 10th place, rounding out your top 10, just under 10 seconds behind. And then we see Landon Quisenberry was your points leader. It will certainly shake up the points now with a finish in 11th. Eric Shields 12th, Brandon Sermersheim in 13th, Ryan Tiller in 14th, Cade Ferguson in 15th, Brandon French 16th, Ryan Simmons 17th, Mikey Adams 18th, Andrew Bruce 19th, Todd Slauson 20th, Tyler French 21st, and Wyatt Garrett 22nd. Both those drivers, Tyler French and Wyatt Garrett, having issues in the early part of the race, unable to complete the majority of the laps, but that does round out your 22 car field here in the Speedzone Esports Busch Series Las Vegas 180 live on the Sim Race Network. And wow, what a race. We look forward for the opportunity to get to talk to these drivers. They're certainly cooling down, getting the gear off right now. And this is an opportunity for us to make sure, please, if you really enjoyed what you watched today, please slam that like, subscribe, join, follow button. We really look forward to showing off more exciting racing with you as we get this going. And just make sure to follow to see more and more of this action content. But here we are. I think we're down with our third place finisher, Jared Lindsay, right now. And Jared, an absolute dogfight. You've had the highs and lows all race long. One point you're leading the race. It seemed like it was really in your hand. The caution certainly shaked things up for you, getting involved with that a little bit, but still able to hold off Randy Arms and take that third place finish. How are you really feeling after your drive today?
I'm pretty ecstatic. I'm really not that good at Vegas, and I know we just had the aero changes, which I had to figure out tonight. Had a ton of fun. The aero from the other cars played a big factor. Just whenever I was back running, I think like 10th or 11th, and once I got closer to the front, it was a lot easier to hang on. I also learned that even if someone was faster than me, if I just kept them to my inside or could keep them behind me, I could hold them up because Randy was quicker than me. He had a lap fresher tires than me, but I was just able to keep him right there, barely. Maybe a couple more laps he would have got me, but it was a good race. I had a great time battling Kyle. Great time battling with Randy there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. That was absolutely thrilling streaming television that we had, that battle between you and Randy Arms. And it really seemed like in that final battle coming to the checkered flag, you were really able to utilize having some somewhat fresher tires, but able to really use that outside line to maintain the runs down out of the corners and really be able to keep that gap from Randy and not allow him to make a pass on the inside. How do you think having that short run to the finish line kind of affected your strategy of being able to utilize that outside line, as we really saw throughout most of the race, a lot of drivers preferring the inside line to be fastest?
Um, I uh, I think the caution. So I think it was a toss up. I figured if it stayed green, they were going to catch me and likely going to definitely pass me. I think the caution gave me probably my best shot. Running the outside, especially on the cycled tires, I think made a bigger difference than it did on fresher tires. Fresher tires seemed like you could kind of go wherever, and as long as you had the momentum, you were good. But the cycle tires, I think, made the outside when it came to passing a little more preferred, unless you were just going that much faster. So I guess that's what my thoughts are.
Yeah, and we certainly saw you. I mean, you used it to your advantage there to be able to secure a third place finish today, and an absolutely fantastic job. But as we look towards next week, going into Darlington, certainly a very technical, tricky track. How are you feeling as we look into next week, coming off of a third place finish today? And what are you and the team looking forward to bringing and unloading next week?
I know Schwartz will be fast next week. I need to run more laps, is about all I could probably say for myself, and get a feel for what the car is like there now. But I feel like if I can just keep it out of the fence, don't miss pit road entrance, I could probably, squeeze by with the top five.
I think that's pretty good hopes to be expecting for, especially coming off of a third place today. And certainly a technical track, I think that lends into your hand. And certainly the way you were running that high line at the end of the race, I think you'll do certainly well at Darlington. And we've been remiss before we let you go to give an opportunity to give a shout out, thank your sponsors, anything before we let you go and get cooled off and really be able to talk and unwind about this race with the team.
Yeah, definitely kudos to the MoFlo team for winning the race tonight. Congrats to Schwartz. And Randy and the admins for running the league, and then you guys for doing the broadcast. I didn't even know we were broadcasting, so appreciate. Always like talking to you two, so um, appreciate that. And that's about it.
Well, we appreciate talking to you as well, Jared. And it was nice to have this moment to step outside and talk to you after a really nice run today. Started fourth, finished third in today's Speedzone Esports Busch Series Las Vegas 180. And really well done job. We hope to look forward to seeing you from Darlington next week. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.
Bye
And that
bye.
was our third place finisher, Jared Lindsay, coming up just 2 places short today. But I believe now we've got Avery McDonald down alongside Randy Sample, our second place finisher.
Yeah, we got Randy's. Yeah, we got Randy Sample here, put on a really good run. And Randy, congrats on that second place. You moved up 6 spots. How were you able to get up to second?
Uh, just maximizing the tire strategy. I knew the way the early part of the race went with a bunch of cautions. I wanted to save a set, sacrificed a couple positions on that next to the last caution. Uh, just wanted to have something in the bank.
Yeah, you definitely had something to bank. Did a really good job. Getting a top five here at Speedzone Esports in the Busch Series is really, really tough to do. And we go to a little bit different track next week at Darlington. What are your thoughts on Darlington?
Darlington's going to be a handful, and just got to go out there and run my own race and not get caught trying to race people for positions and let the track eat them up and go by them later on.
Yep, and let the track eat them up. Before we let you go, the great racing question, Randall. Anybody give a shout out to?
Just Speed Zone for putting a show on Tuesday and Wednesdays, and Team Conti for all their help learning the tracks and figuring out how to drive these things.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, man. Always a pleasure to talk with you, and good luck tomorrow night in the super trucks.
Appreciate it.
And that was our second place finisher, Randy Sample. Up 6 places, started in eighth place. We talked about it early on that probably wasn't the qualifying spot that he wanted, but does make the run back up and does seal the deal with second place. And here we are as we're getting an opportunity as he climbs out of the car. Here is our race winner, Jonathan Schwartz. Started in fifth place, comes up victorious today. Jonathan Schwartz, how are you feeling right now coming off of this victory in the Las Vegas 180?
Man, what a night. It's been a while for me. I've been in a little bit of a drought, but had some luck on our side tonight, made it happen. So I'm happy for that.
Yeah, you're right. And it's Las Vegas. Sometimes you need that lucky luck on your side. And certainly walk us through. You were in a very tricky spot there, stayed out really late in that run at the end of stage two when we had that caution on lap 99 and really kind of worked into your benefit, allowed you to get the fresh rubber. Just take us through your mind, through your process. How bad did you think the car might have been damaged from the four-car incident? And being able to kind of beat that mentality to still make sure your car was fast enough to be able to win today.
The current damage model on these cars isn't bad. So when you get doored like that, you don't really get much at all. And I was lucky enough to not have any. So after that, I knew I was in a good spot with fresh tires. Everybody else had taken their last set. So I think Randy Sample had saved his also, and he gave me a run for my money. But I knew we were pretty well off there after the yellow, so it worked out.
Yeah, it was. It was a real masterful drive there on those closing 18 laps and opening up a 1.7 second gap over second place in Randy Sample, and some of that just having that advantage of getting through on the outside. You really made that outside work to push past some of the cars in front of you on the restart, and just did not look back from there. And I'm sure as we're already getting through this race, I'm sure you're already looking into how you can get a win again next week to go two in a row after getting your first race victory this season in the Speedzone Esports Busch Series. And what are you looking forward to as we head into Darlington next week?
Darlington's just a special track. The everybody runs the wall, but I like that bottom groove in 3 and 4. So I'm looking forward to Darlington next week to get a good shot at another win, and Martinsville too. I'm pretty good at both of those, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh, looks like we've got a good schedule kind of lining up. Maybe this is your time to start shining, coming off of a victory today. And before we let you go, celebrate with the boys and really get to enjoying the beautiful Las Vegas celebrations that do occur. Want to take a moment, give a shout out of thanks to your sponsors. Anybody here before we let you go and get to the party?
Yeah, I just want to thank first of all GBMC, great partner of mine, longtime partner at Cleaning Authority on board as well. So without those guys, wouldn't be doing this. So yeah, my great teammates over at MoFlow that make this happen also. So thanks to them. Thank you for you guys for broadcasting tonight, and it was a good run.
No, thank you. You guys on the in the cars really make our job quite easy up here when you guys are racing and dogging each other as hard as what we witnessed today. That was just absolutely thrilling racing up and down the field. Jonathan Schwartz, congratulations again on your victory in the Las Vegas 180 today. Best of luck as we head into Darlington and Martinsville in the upcoming couple of weeks. And just once again, congratulations. Best of well done and party hard.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And that is our race winner, Jonathan Schwartz, coming out ahead 1.7 seconds ahead of Randy Sample, really utilizing having that fresh rubber there at the end of the race. And just an absolutely fantastic event. And speaking on behalf of myself, Kenan Miller, and Avery McDonald as well, we were truly honored for the opportunity today to broadcast the Speedzone Esports Busch Series Las Vegas 180 here on the Sim Race Network. Please give us a like, follow, subscribe so you can watch even more broadcasted races as the time comes. But for now, that is all we have for today. I was Kenan Miller on the call, produced and high quality analysis brought to you with Avery McDonald. We look forward to seeing you the next time around. But for at the moment, good night.